I mean, it's pretty dope. Yeah.
What's going on, everybody? It is Wayne G along with Sully and Jesse. You are watching Infinity Sports.
Yeah, you are.
Infinity Sports.
What's going on, guys?
Hey, what's going on? Pretty cool episode today. It's actually our first episode in like 3 weeks that wasn't a scheduled interview episode. So we kind of get back to our normal flow of things. That should be fun. We're going to play Fact or Fiction. Jesse's up 2 games to 0 on Sully. So we'll pick it up there. I'm going to play the video intro. It's everybody's favorite to get us pumped up. And then
pop your Viagra, guys.
Let's jump right into it.
Jordan. Oh, a spectacular move by Michael Jordan. Drives one out to deep left field. This one's got a chance to get out of here. Gone! 3-run Jimmy Jack first big league home run for Mike Trout.
Pass is intercepted at the goal line by Malcolm Butler.
And an 81-point game. 55 in the second half. Ladies and gentlemen, you have witnessed the second greatest scoring performance in NBA history.
Yeah, I sometimes feel like people tune in just to watch the intro and then peace out.
And then just dip. They're like, all right, man, I'm outie.
I would if I thought you guys could handle it more often. That one episode I let you guys go. Thank God Coach Fields was there for you guys.
Oh, yeah. I mean, unlike the show that we did together, we didn't have the interview, and we just had to, like, bullshit
and talk.
You just pulled a show out of my ass.
Yeah, we had nothing prepared. So thanks for listening, guys. Obviously, it is Mondays and Wednesday. Or no, I'm sorry, it's Wednesday. Phew, thank God it's not Monday.
Mondays drunk again, guys.
Mondays and Wednesdays, we are on at 7 p.m. on Facebook Live on the Infinity Sports page and the RTF page. You can catch us there. We are rebroadcast in audio format the following days, Tuesdays and Thursdays, on the RTF Sports Network. So definitely listen to that. Listen to this show. If you miss any part of the show, like the last couple we've done have run a little bit long, you can check us out on iTunes, Spotify, and Stitcher. So those are the 3 areas you can either download, you can stream, whatever you prefer, however you like to listen to podcasts. And, of course, we are an interactive show, so you can reach out to us at Infinity Sports Podcast on Facebook, on Instagram, and at Sports Infinity 5 on Twitter. And coming soon at www.infinitysportspodcast.com. We are going to have our own website up and running, and we will have links to all of the social media. We will stream our videos through the website as well. We will have communication through the website. So obviously people can visit the website, and it was confusing to tell people, well, you have to watch Facebook Live, and you have to go to this particular page on Facebook. Now we can just say, go to the website. It's going to be streaming there.
Absolutely. And very soon we'll be having some merchandise on there. We see these logos behind Wayne and I. I know Sully's is in the mail right now, but you want a t-shirt with this on it, everybody.
Yeah, I mean, who doesn't want a 12 is greater than 9 t-shirt?
100%. I can't wait to rock those every episode, man.
All right, so it is a really cool show today. Obviously, we have getting back to normal. So we've got Fact or Fiction. Jesse is currently up 2 games to 0 on Sully. So hopefully Sully can get a win here and kind of get a little bit closer. We've got Hall of Fame or not Hall of Fame, NBA Players Edition. We've got 5 favorite Disney movies, along with a little bit of a Disney debate when we get to the Infinity 5. So look forward to all that. But first, obviously, we are going to hit the news. How smooth was that this week? Look at that.
Ooh, there you go, Wayne.
It's been so long since we had a chance to do our usual news segment. We're usually trying to rush through a couple of facts so we can get to our interview. So we're back to this day in history. I don't have a ton of them, but I have some things that I think are interesting. And before I get to that, though, there is actually kind of a big piece of news that I wanted to go over with you guys and with our viewers and our listeners, which is, we've had a bit of a beef with another show on the station. To be blunt, kind of came at us pretty hard, kind of saying some stuff about us. We kind of came back at them a little bit. It got kind of mixed up. There was definitely some feelings hurt by people. And I didn't know what to do about it. I said, I need to reach out to somebody and really see, what should I do about this? And I have a friend who's actually a boxing trainer in Philadelphia. His name is Micky Goldmill. And, he has worked with guys like Rocky Balboa and Apollo Creed. And, he's a really wise guy, and he knows what to do in these sorts of situations. So I gave my friend Mickey a call. I was curious. I recorded it. Is it okay if I play for you guys my phone call with Mickey?
Yeah.
Hey, yo, Mick.
All right, this is my call with Mickey, just asking him what we should do about our beef with To Be Blunt.
Hey, Mickey?
Hell, what do you want?
Jeez, Mick. You feeling okay?
Never mind my problem. What's your problem?
I've been having some issues with To Be Blunt with Peasy.
He's a bum.
I agree, but he's got really upset. I said his show is trash.
Well, ain't they?
I think so, but he pointed out that his shows have more views than mine like a month ago.
Freak club.
You really think so?
Isn't it true? Look at the other guy. I'm cheap, second-rate, two-bit nothing.
I tried to tell him that, but Michael said not to go at him anymore.
Why?
Because he's sensitive, I guess. What should I do?
I think we ought to knock his block off.
I just don't know if I should.
Why don't you stand up and fight this guy hard, like you done before? That was beautiful.
Because he says he has radio experience.
No, he ain't. And he said you're a one-time lucky bum. But don't lay down in front of him like this.
Well, what should I say to him?
Go away. Go back to the docks where you belong.
You're right, Mickey.
What else is new?
Yeah, so there we go. Mickey has some good advice for me.
Oh, God.
What's that show called? To Be Buried? Is it To Be Buried?
Bro,
Yeah,
the countdown starts for how long till Sal blows a fucking gasket.
That's it. I can tell you guys to get off the air right
Come
now.
on, brother.
This is To Be Blunt, and we're a wrestling show.
I guess Mickey's not a fan of the show either. I thought it was kind of funny.
Hey, shocker. God.
Jumping into our This Day in History, I know people looking forward to that. This day in history, I love bringing up money. And in 1969, on August 12th, the Boston Celtics sold for $6 million.
That's it?
Some change.
Yeah.
So basically, like, their seventh man or eighth man off the bench could have bought the team back then.
God, could you imagine?
August 13th, 1920, we have the U.S. Open is won by Ted Ray, who beats Harry Vardon. Now, I don't know if you guys have seen that movie. It's a Disney movie, and I don't know if it's on either. No, because we're doing animated, but it's a Disney movie called The Greatest Game Ever Played with Shia LaBeouf. It's a good movie. He basically is an amateur. Francis Ouimet. He plays in the U.S. Open against Harry Vardon and Ted Ray and beats them. And it's a really, really good movie, so I'd recommend that one.
I'll put it
Is
on
that the
my next
one?
list.
Oh, no. I was going to say, is that the one with Will Smith? But that's Bagger Vance. Good movie, too.
No, I just said Shia LaBeouf.
Yeah, but Shia LaBeouf could be in it also with Will Smith. What do you mean? Shia LaBeouf's never not in a movie with other people?
Wayne's still heated from that murder he just committed.
There's a great preview into our movie talk later.
Yeah, great preview.
Yeah. August 13th, 1938, Satchel Paige pitches his first ever complete game in the major leagues. He's 42 years old.
Totally just drafted Satchel Paige in our draft, and I think, because we brought him up so much, that's why he drafted him.
No, I drafted him because I like him, and luckily he was still around in the draft as late as he was, so I was pretty stoked.
1989, August 13th, PGA Championship. Payne Stewart wins. It's the first of his three majors. So I'm a huge Payne Stewart fan. I mean, who doesn't love the knickers and the beret kind of forward? That just so awesome. And from what I understand, just as nice a human being as ever existed. Just really great guy. And it was very sad, obviously, when his plane crashed. I guess the oxygen kind of left the cabin. Everybody fell asleep on the plane. And I don't think they had to shoot it down. I think it just crashed into a field.
Is that seriously what happened?
I didn't know that story. Wow.
That's
all right.
fucking horrific.
Yeah, so Payne Stewart, three-time major. He was on a plane. He was flying to a tournament or something like that.
A commercial flight.
No, it was a private jet.
Oh, okay.
There was no communication, with the jet, and so they had fighters following it, and it eventually just crashed into a field. And they said that the crew and Payne Stewart and them were probably already dead before it crashed. It was just there was no oxygen in the cabin.
Wow,
That's a pretty
that's the way to go.
big mistake there from whoever didn't check that one.
Yeah. August 14th, 1959, we have the AFL meeting. They award franchises Dallas, LA, New York, Houston, Denver, and Minneapolis. And that is your AFL. So that eventually we had the AFL-NFL merger, but that's kind of how the AFL got started.
The one huge name that had the most success out of there is obviously the Cowboys.
Oh, for sure. And I actually thought they were an NFL team, so that surprised me that they were an AFL team to start off with. We've got August 14th, 2016, Usain Bolt gets his third gold medal in the 100 meters, 9.81 seconds. It's not his fastest time, but I did look up. He had 14 times under 10 seconds in his career.
Which is just insane.
That's insane. He is so fast. By the way, there's a Netflix special on him if you haven't seen it, Jesse.
I have not seen it. I will have to put it on my list.
Yeah, it's not great. I mean, it's from 2000, I think 16 or 17. So it's not stupid recent, but it's still recent enough, and it's solid though. I'd give it a watch.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
August 15th, 2012, King Felix Hernandez throws the 23rd perfect game in Major League history. I was always a huge King Felix fan, and his star just kind of flew through the sky, and 2 or 3 years maybe as a star, and then just fell off a map.
Yeah, I was going to say that same thing. I was a huge fan of King Felix as well, and it just seemed like, he was a star that just wasn't a star for as long as everybody thought he was going to be. I remember him being on the Mariners, but I just thought he was going to be a star for so much longer. Thinking about some of the guys that are still playing, from the times that he started, he's much better than them, a much better strikeout thrower.
I mean, I think he had a good run. I mean, I'm pretty sure he's like a 6-time All-Star. He's won the Cy Young and finished second, I think, twice. But I don't know how much, pitchers just don't have the runs like they used to. You know what I mean? Like, you're brilliant for about maybe 5 or 6 years, and then after that, it's tough to kind of continue that dominance. But I'm a huge King Felix fan. I try to grab him in every draft we do.
Now, you guys are both soccer fans, so in August 16th, 2003, an 18-year-old Cristiano Ronaldo made his Manchester United debut.
Sure he did, baby. Let's go. I got that jersey in the closet right now, too. The AIG 2003 Cristiano Ronaldo jersey. That was a whole – he was the greatest player in the world at that time, and that was my favorite team. And so, it's like when the Yankees got Babe Ruth, you know what I mean, or something like that. When, Barry Bonds went to the Giants, just like when the greatest player in the sport changes team, it's so monumental. I remember it like it was yesterday.
2 quick questions. How long was he on Man U?
I think it was 6 years. And
do either of you two know how much that deal was for?
Oh, God.
He was 18 years old, so I don't know.
Yeah, it wasn't a ton. He came from oh, my God, how can I not remember the team? The same team Quaresma came from. Oh, my God, it's driving me nuts. Sporting, I can't remember the name of it. Anyway, but he was super young, so when he came over. But, yeah, he lit it up. We won the treble a couple of years, and the 2005 team, I think it is considered one of the greatest teams of all time. So.
Yeah, I actually had 2 of those AIG Manchester United jerseys. I got the long sleeve one because I like the long sleeves a little bit better. I sold both of them. I sold them both for $100 a piece.
Yeah, the good like real kit fits are nice. Who were they? Were they just blank jersey or?
No, it was Cristiano Ronaldo.
Oh, nice. Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah. I got a couple of those. So, like I said, when I buy jerseys, sometimes I get soccer jerseys if I can get a deal on them. Like I said, I love my World Cup Brazil Ronaldo number 9. That's my favorite.
Yeah. Nice. That's a solid jersey right there.
That's your boy.
And then, of course, my last bit of this day in history is for Sully. August 17th, 1984, Pete Rose gets 2 hits as a player-manager for the Reds. And you forget that the reason the managers wear the uniforms is so that they can play if they have to. So there's Dusty Baker coming out of the dugout and taking a couple swings.
That would be insane. He was the last one to actually play, right? No, there's got to have been another one after that.
I don't know, but I just think it's crazy to picture the manager walking up the dugout. It's like, I'm going to take a couple hacks with the bat.
Yeah.
Well, I've got one more. It actually is this day in history, and it's from 1992, and that is the day that Larry Legend, actually hung up the sneakers there. So August 18th, 1992, Larry Bird retired. I know we've got some Celtics fans in this area that will certainly be watching. So I didn't want to forget that.
Yeah, for sure. Larry Bird, top 10 player of all time. I know that you can make an argument from the top 5. I had this debate on Facebook that, I have Kobe number 5. But I'm like, if you switched out Kobe for Duncan, I wouldn't really have a problem with it. If you switched out Kobe for Larry Bird or Magic Johnson, I'd be like, all right, I don't agree with it, but it wouldn't bother me as if you're like switching them out for somebody who was just crap.
Yeah.
Like Bill Russell.
I have Larry Bird over Bill Russell. I think we all do, honestly.
Oh yeah, I think he played and dominated in a much more competitive era, in my opinion.
Yeah, hopefully everybody has him over Bill Russell. I mean, you know who's not in the top 10? Len Bias.
I was going to say the only person who crashed more than Bill Russell is Len Bias.
Man, I think we got a comment here, so let me just see if it's. What do we got here? 89 was a good year.
The year I was born.
Mama Frenchie. We like it.
Let's take a look. So, real news, we've got the NHL playoffs are going on, and I'm leading with NHL over NBA because they played more playoff games so far. Obviously, for Boston area, Boston fans, the Bruins are up 3-1 on the Hurricanes, but Tuukka just packs up and leaves. I'm going home.
That story is bonkers. There's reports that he's done with hockey in general. He's not playing anymore. And I don't know. I think it's a big blow for Boston. I know they're playing right now as we speak. That's what I'm checking.
Let me go ahead and sneak in now.
Oh, they actually took it. They took the series. Yeah, they took the series. Yeah. So they won 2-1 and they took the series. And so, I mean, which is expected. They should move on pretty easily from the Hurricanes. They're going to have some tests in the next round, though. Philadelphia is a great team. Tampa Bay is a really good team. I don't know who they're going to get. I got to look at the bracket, but man, it's going to be a tough task with no Tuukka.
You know what I actually read is a more local report here in Boston is that Tuukka actually took the time away because he had his daughter end up having an emergency medical situation. So he knew that he couldn't be away, and he knew that he couldn't be 100% on the ice or in the locker room with that, weighing down on him. So he decided to leave. As far as if he's done playing for good, who knows? I mean, that would certainly put us in a bit of a pickle. But obviously, Halak's been amazing for the Bruins this series. So I'm really glad to see them moving on.
Yeah. Now, my question for Sully, because Sully is actually our official RTF Network power rankings guy for the NHL. I do NBA power rankings. And my question for Sully, because I don't really follow the NHL a lot, but I see Boston 3-1 or now 4-1. Colorado's up 3-1. Flyers up 3-1. Islanders up 3-1. The only good series seems to be Vancouver and St. Louis. I mean, why is there not more close series?
These teams are that much better than the other teams they're playing. There's a really pretty big divide in the top teams in hockey, the top tier teams, and kind of the rest of the pack, and we're seeing that right now. Vegas, Boston, Philadelphia, Colorado, Tampa are really just that much better than a lot of the other teams in the NHL, especially the teams they're playing right now in the playoffs. So, I mean, the Blues Canucks series isn't a terrible series. That's the one you're speaking of. Vancouver's playing out of their minds. Their young kids, Bo Harvard, is playing bonkers right now, and I mean that's really fun to see. Washington wasn't a scrap. They're probably going to take care of business like they should, and they're still a really solid team. They're just not playing up to par, I think, as of right now. But I'm really excited to see these next couple rounds because again. Colorado and Vegas are stupid strong coming out of the West. They're really, really, really good teams. And then Philadelphia and Tampa Bay, I think, are just insanely talented as well. And then you can never count Boston out. They're going through some issues right now, but they're still going to be a hard team to get through. So the deeper we get, I think it's just going to be incredible to watch. I mean, I really do.
I agree. I think, the first round for any professional sporting league is never usually super competitive. I think we've seen some competitive games in the NBA, but for the most part, history will prove that the first round is never super competitive. You're going to see more gentlemen sweeps or sweeps than you are, competitive series. So I think the further we go into the NHL playoffs, you're going to see some amazing matchups and some awesome hockey.
All right. And then going to the NBA, I'm actually just clicking over here real quick. Mike and Mike in the man hour here. Boston, question mark.
I don't know what Boston he's referring to. I'm assuming the Bruins.
I guess
we just ended an NHL segment, so because this may be potentially delayed, I'm going to say it's probably the Bruins. So, I mean, they were certainly talked about. We mentioned them, completing their series against the Hurricanes and moving on to the next series. I think they had some amazing efforts in the second half or the second and third periods of most of these games, especially yesterday's game. So we gave Boston some talk, and we can't give them too much talk because we got a Tampa boy right above me.
I mean, it's not just that. Unfortunately, they are kind of, I think, just a step below now without Tuukka and without Pasternak. I really do think that puts them in a spot that, I also think that Vegas and Colorado are playing at a different level than Tampa Bay right now, and Tampa Bay's got no Stammer. I think with Stamkos, we're the best team in the league, but without Stamkos, I mean, we're kind of human at that point. So, it's very fluid. Hockey's a sport that kind of carries on momentum, and Carter Hart for Philadelphia is playing out of his mind. The kid's got 2 shutouts at under 20. I think it's bonkers how good he is. I don't know what that symbol is. There's 2 squares. Oh, 12, hey. 12 is greater than 9, baby. Yes.
Make the t-shirts.
But I'm just really excited for now the deeper parts of the hockey parts of the playoffs, like Jesse mentioned. It's going to get extremely physical now. This is when playoff hockey gets really intense.
Now, the NBA, again, we've got the Toronto goes up 2-0. They look like they're on a championship path. The Jazz go up 2-0 by 57 points from Donovan Mitchell. The big news of Orlando going up 1-0 on the Bucks. Now, I personally don't think they have a chance to beat the Bucks, but I don't know. That's still pretty big.
It was definitely surprising. I saw a meme recently where it had a really yoked out deer on one side and said the Bucks in the regular season. On the other side, it had Bambi as he was first born. That's the Bucks in the NBA playoffs. So there's certainly a tale of 2 tapes here as far as one team in the regular season and the other team in the postseason. Can't be getting beat down like that because Orlando didn't even have Aaron Gordon playing. So that's an ugly look.
Yeah, it's the first time since 2003 that both number 1 seeds lost their first game starting the series. Because LA lost as well to Portland. And I mean, I don't really think I'd be worried if I was the Bucks. The Lakers, I think, need to be a little worried because LeBron put up a triple-double and they still lost. So they're going to need to find some more scoring on that team. And I don't know where they're going to get it from, honestly, because it's not like Kuz had a bad game. AD, he's going to have to be superhuman. He's just going to have to be, and he wasn't last night. And then the Bucks, all these people talking about how, they're not the same team. It was one game. Giannis has proven, I think, in the playoffs, at least up until he faces Kawhi, that the guy's pretty dominant. So let's just see how they can recover. Let's not jump to conclusions just yet.
It's got to be a deeper team than him and Chris Middleton for sure. You got to have that supporting cast show up in the playoffs.
I talked a little bit of power rankings when I was co-hosting with Triple Shot Sports, and I had the Boston Celtics as number 1 in my power rankings because I just felt like they were the most complete team, the most team-oriented team, and the best coached team in the playoffs. I just feel like they're the team to beat. But now with Gordon Hayward going down, I still think they get past Philadelphia, but I mean, I don't know how much further they make after that.
They have so much experience playing without Gordon Hayward that I'm not sure if it's really going to be that much of a detriment. And I did hear you on that Triple Shot Sports show. It was I love hearing you on Chad's show. One of Chad Lounder's best shows for sure. He's a great host.
The only issue I have with Boston being at 1 is they're not a deep team at all. That's a team that losing a Gordon Hayward, yeah, they've played with him in the past, but this year they're not really suited to play without him. They're not a super deep team. Unfortunately, if I'm listing the number one team, I think it's the Clip Show. They're just stupid deep and stupid talented. They go too deep in every position and play ball. And honestly, I think Boston's going to have a real tough time with Toronto. They're just really good everywhere. And they're not flashy. I don't know what it is. They just play really good basketball.
Well, it's like you guys had mentioned when Coach Fields was on the show with Toronto, the fact that they have such a great scouting team and a great upper management, the fact that Pascal Siakam and OG, I'm not even going to try his last name.
Ananube, I think
I'm going to let you do it. But those two have been phenomenal for Toronto for the last 2-ish seasons, and those guys are not guys that were taken in the lottery. So the success that franchise has had in the draft is really showing right now, because for them to have the season they're having without Kawhi is phenomenal.
I mean, Fred VanVleet, too, is just, I think, a gem that they found. He's so good, and it's just incredible what they're doing over there.
They better lock him up. I'm pretty sure he's a free agent after this year.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they will.
Hopefully my Pistons don't go after him. They need to for sure.
Now, the last bit of sports news I have before we get to our game here is and this shouldn't even be news. I don't know if I've made it very clear how much I feel about unwritten rules in baseball. But Fernando Tatis getting his 11th home run, league-leading 11th home run on a 3-0 count in the 8th inning. His team's up 4 or 5 runs, and they're like, you shouldn't be swinging at a 3-0 pitch. Why not? Don't throw a 3-0 pitch hanging over the plate.
Exactly. Don't throw a pitch you can hit if you don't want him to hit it. That's horseshit. I think the only people standing behind the unwritten rule part are the Giants themselves. I don't think anybody – I mean, you saw the slew of baseball players that came out and supported him. Even old-timey guys. Reggie Jackson came out and said and tweeted something. I don't think Reggie Jackson's used a computer in 20-odd years, and the guy's jumping on there and tweeting shit to support him. I mean, it's just a joke. Fernando Tatis is what we love about baseball. The guy plays with so much passion. He's leading the league in home runs, RBIs, stolen bases, hits, and runs right now, or was at the time that he stole third base. Because I don't know if you know this, the game after, they're up 6-0. He's on second base and he steals third, up 6-0, which is also kind of an unwritten rule that you don't do. And I love that he just mashed it right into him right there. And yeah, he's apologizing, but I think it's really just to be politically correct or do whatever just to make people smile. Because the stealing the third base the next day shows I don't give a shit what you got to think or say. I'm going to play my game.
Yeah, what you have to say PR-wise is different than what you're gonna end up saying on the field, and I think we're seeing 2 different Fernando Tatises there. One that wants to shove it in the Giants' faces on the field, and one that wants to not get suspended off the field.
Everybody forgets too. The Giants beat, I think it was the Royals, 30-3, like 2 years ago. 30-3.
That's a football score.
The biggest difference ever in the history of baseball, and it was the Giants. And then they're claiming that some guy hits a fucking bomb off them. Get out of here.
Wow.
Well, that next segment we have here, and I don't have any fancy transition music to get into it, but the next segment I have is fact or fiction. I'm going to make a statement, and these guys have to determine whether or not that statement is a fact or whether it's fiction. This is actually a records edition. So every one of these statements is going to be about a major league record, NBA record, something like that, and you guys have to determine whether it's fact or fiction. Jesse, I might have you go first. Again, it doesn't really matter because everybody gets equal turns anyways. But
except for the time that we didn't because Wayne didn't have an NFL.
I did not have enough questions. So fact or fiction, Jesse, Tony Gwynn's 39 consecutive games without striking out is the major league record.
God, I love Tony Gwynn. I'm going to go fact.
Just to start it off different, I'm going fiction.
It is fiction. The record for the most consecutive games without striking out is 115 games, which was set in 1929 by Joe Sewell.
I
That was
should have known it was some
some guy in 19 before the Depression.
Tony Gwynn facing, the absolute greatest of that era, and some guy facing a farmer. Sick.
Sick, bro.
So flipping it around to the other side, Sully, the Major League record for most consecutive games with a strikeout is 37 by Aaron Judge.
False.
Started off crazy. I'm going to go fact.
No,
It is a fact.
No, it's not. No.
That is a fact.
Nah, I want to look that one up. Chris, what's his name? Didn't he strike out like every fucking game, the guy for the Orioles?
No.
Talking
The
about
record
Chris Davis?
It's consecutive games. The record is 37 consecutive games by Aaron Judge.
Keep asking your question. I'm looking this one up.
Yeah, go for it. I looked all this stuff up before I.
Don't touch Wayne.
What are you looking up? It's your turn to answer the question first.
Oh, answer it.
Sure. So in 1982, Rickey Henderson steals 130 bases, including 43 consecutive bases without being thrown out. That is the Major League record.
What is?
43 consecutive bases without being thrown out.
Oh, all right. I didn't know what records you were talking about. I mean, that sounds like a lot. Let's go fact.
I'm going to go fact.
It is fiction. The record is 50 by Vince Coleman in 1989.
Vince Coleman. Good for you, Vince Coleman.
And the last baseball question we have, this one goes to Jesse first. We all know Cy Young has the record with 749 complete games, but the record for the most consecutive seasons leading the league in complete games is 9 by Warren Spahn.
I'm going to go with fiction.
And the question is how complete games in a season?
So leading the league in complete games.
Oh, wow. Fiction.
It's fact. From 1949 to 1963, Warren Spahn had 9 times that he led the league in complete games.
Nil.
Heading into the NBA, we are going to Sully, right? So Sully, the most points scored by a player in one overtime period is 16, Gilbert Arenas.
Fiction.
Most points scored in one overtime period?
Yes.
Oh, so not most points scored overall in overtime.
Right.
Fuck it. I'll still say fiction.
I'm going to go fact.
Yeah. It is fiction. Gilbert Arenas holds the record for most points in an overtime period in the regular season, but all time is 17 by Steph Curry in the playoffs against Portland.
Wow, splitting sea hairs.
Didn't somebody just come out with a meme that said Steph Curry doesn't show up in big, like Dame Lillard is Steph Curry that shows up in big games or something like that? That's a stupid statement.
That's prisoners of the moment, right?
Yeah,
now.
for
I
sure.
I love Lillard, but that's definitely prisoners of the moment.
Yeah.
So, Jesse, the most three-pointers missed in one game by one player is 16.
Yikes, that sounds like NBA 2K.
Sounds like my men's league.
I'm going to go fiction just because I can't believe that. 16?
16 missed three-point field goals in one game.
Honestly, I'm saying fiction because I think it's more.
It is fact. And
Russell Westbrook?
Damon Stoudemire once. James
Mighty
Harden
Mouse.
has achieved it 6 times.
Jesus Christ.
That's insane.
I was just it's got to be somebody on that Houston team. I went with the wrong guy.
Yeah.
All right, so back to Sully. So they didn't record blocks back in Wilt or Russell's day because who knows what the record would be then. But the record for most blocks in the game is 13, Hakeem Olajuwon.
False.
I'm also going to go fiction.
It is fiction. Elmore Smith had 17 in 1973.
Yeah, I was going to say, you knew it had to be some nobody.
Didn't Hakeem have more than 13 in one?
No, that's his career high.
Okay.
But he had a quadruple double though.
That's what I was saying. I thought his quadruple double he got 15. That's why I said false. But in any case, I'm glad I got it.
Jason Kidd. Oh, who's this one? This is
Jesse.
Jesse.
Me.
Jesse.
We both got that though, Sully, you punk.
No, I know. Yeah, but I'm just saying I'm glad I got it because my initial thought process was Hakeem had more, not somebody else had more.
Yeah.
Jesse, in November 2000, Jason Kidd tied an NBA record with 14 turnovers in the game.
Fiction.
It is fact.
I knew it. I'm a pussy.
All right, getting to the NFL. Now we've got,
It's me. How do you forget who is up?
I don't know.
It just goes back and forth.
I guess. Well,
you're okay, Wayne.
So,
you got a lot going on. You got to read a lot.
So, Sully, Drew Bledsoe holds the record for most pass attempts in a season, 691.
That can't be true.
That is his career high in pass attempts. But is that the NFL record?
That's an actual true statement. Jesus Christ.
691.
Fiction?
I'm also going to go fiction.
There's no way Drew Bledsoe owns that record.
Yeah.
The record is 727 by Matt Stafford.
Yeah, that seems more likely.
That makes way more sense.
Yeah, that makes way more sense.
It's not that big of a difference, though.
No, I know, but like if you'd have picked a different name,
yeah,
if you'd have picked a different name instead of Drew Bledsoe, I think I'd have been like, ugh.
So this one was to Jesse. The most yards lost being sacked in a single season is Randall Cunningham.
I'm going to go false.
I mean, the field is just so much bigger. So I have to go with the field and go false.
Yeah, I'm going to say I think it's Vic.
It is fact at 489 yards. He's also 5th and 9th.
Jesus.
Where's Vic on that list? Any idea?
I don't know. I didn't write it down.
So you think?
He goes, I don't care.
I got 5 and 9, but not 2.
So Nick said fact. I don't know if it was on that one or not, but yeah, we'll see.
You got it right. If it was on that one, Nick.
Thanks, Nick.
All right. Sully, 9 out of 10 of the most accurate kickers in history in terms of field goal percentage are currently active.
Man, I know a lot are. Jake Elliott's up there on that list. I gotta go false. 9 out of 10?
9 out of 10 are active in 2020.
Fiction.
Fiction.
It's a fact.
Yeah.
Led by Justin Tucker at 90.75%.
Well, that
of
was
course.
easy. I wanted to go fact.
But is Vinatieri still playing? He's not even up there anyway, I don't think.
I'm not sure yet. Last one we got here is for Jesse. Right?
Yeah.
Jesse, Paul Krause may have the interception record with 81 for his career, but the most career interception yards is Rod Woodson with 1,483.
Fact.
False.
It is fiction. Ed Reed with 1,590.
I knew that one off for it.
So we're getting into NHL here. We've got 4 questions, and Jesse is trailing 3-1. So Dan could beat him just by picking everything that he says.
Let's do it.
So Dan, Jesse, Jan. All right.
Jan?
Dan.
Let's go, Jan.
Yeah. What's going on, Jan?
So, is it Pam or Pan?
Yeah.
Fact or fiction, Jaromir Jagr is the career leader in playoff games played.
He's been playing forever, but I don't think so. But I'm going to go fact.
Fiction.
It is fiction. Chris Chelios at 266.
Yeah, I didn't think so, but.
All right. Jesse, Bobby Orr has the most Norris trophies with 8.
Fiction.
Yeah, he doesn't have 8. Fiction.
Fact. All right. Dan.
8? That's a
8.
lot.
Wayne Gretzky has the most goals in a season with 92, but the most for a rookie is Teemu Selanne.
Fact.
He knows his hockey fact.
It is a fact, 76.
I know my Teemu Selanne. I'm a big fan of Teemu Selanne. Big fan.
Loves salami and salami.
Salami.
All right, last question. Jesse, Wayne Gretzky has the best plus minus for a season, plus 650.
Fact. Did we just lose Sully? Did I just lose you guys?
I'll be
I'm here.
Oh,
Good.
okay.
Just a little skippy.
Yeah.
I'm going to
you
go. You said fact, right, Jesse?
Yes.
All right, then I'll go fact.
It is fiction. Larry Robinson.
Yeah, Larry
722.
Robinson. Yeah, I knew that. But I was just going fiction, or going fact, just to fuck with you.
So Sully wins 3-2.
Off the schneid, baby, off the schneid.
It's about damn time.
It feels good. Thank you,
All
Ed
right.
Reed. I knew that one. I appreciate it.
So here's my thing. So we are 40 minutes into the show. We've got 20 minutes remaining, and
I
obviously
think we need to go to Infinity 5 if we're talking about it. That's all.
I think so too. We skip over the Hall of Fame, and I know it's the second time we've done this to Jeff. He's like,
The only issue is, do you want to run long, or do you want to just get it done, Jesse?
I mean, I would just prefer to hit like these top four guys. I mean, Wayne kind of fucked us by putting some schmucks on here like Lou Williams and Jamal Crawford.
I think Jamal Crawford has every right to get in, I think.
All right.
I don't know. I'd have to look deeper, but I think just the rip.
I say we hold off so that
so
Sully has
you-
a chance to look into it.
Yeah, look deeper and have some arguments because, I mean, I don't think so. So,
All right.
we'll leave those names in that segment for another time. But
I mean, anytime a guy gets an award named after him, I think he should go into the Hall of Fame. And if the Sixth Man of the Year award isn't named the Jamal Crawford Award, there's seriously something wrong with this league.
Cool. Well, we are headed into the Infinity 5. The discussion was initially Jesse proposed the top five, or our top five favorite, not the top five best, but our top five favorite Disney movies of all time. This sparked a bit of a debate because I had said I don't think you could include the Marvel and the Star Wars movies, even though they are properties that are owned by Disney. They are not Walt Disney Pictures. So Sully disagreed. I'll let him run with it.
Well, before Sully jumps in, I just want to say I think that it's my mistake by choosing such a loose entity. I mean, I thought after we discussed it, I probably could have refined our Infinity 5, but I left it so loose, and it did create a little bit of a kerfuffle in our group chat.
I mean, I just don't. I don't know what we're discussing here. I truly don't. Who owns and distributes Marvel movies?
Right. Disney owns the entity of Marvel.
So who owns and distributes Marvel?
Disney does, yes.
Oh, okay. So they're Disney movies. My fault. Okay, let's move on.
Not really.
How are they not?
Because Deadpool's not a Disney movie.
But it is.
But it's not.
Well, then you could then make the claim that Pixar's aren't, because Pixar Studios produced the movies, Disney distributed them.
If Pixar Studios released the movie and then Disney bought it after it was released, like Deadpool, then...
Okay, so then Deadpool's your only example. What about Endgame? What about Infinity War? What about
Iron Man? Iron Man was not the 2008 Iron Man.
But I'm not putting them on my list. I would be putting Endgame and Infinity War, the movies done by Walt Disney, because Walt Disney's such a great production company.
Now, my argument in this chat was that castle that you saw at the very beginning, if the movie does not begin with that castle, it is not a Disney movie. That is my argument.
And I get that argument. It's just, it's a very Wayne-esque argument.
I think the way I look at it is when you think of a Disney movie, it's a Disney movie. When you think of a Marvel movie, it's a Marvel movie. It's under the Marvel umbrella. It's a Marvel franchise movie, part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And then you've got Star Wars. They have so many movies under their umbrella now that when you bring up Star Wars, that's its own, catalog now. So I could see where my proposal led to confusion, and I certainly should have been more specific in it. But I think going to what we wanted to do, it was our favorite 5 animated Disney movies, the ones that we grew up with. So for Wayne, those black and white ones.
And by the way, I understand where Sully's coming from. Like, I'm not just like, oh, you're completely. I understand what he's saying.
I know, guys. Wayne's Mr. Contrarian.
No,
you guys know that.
I just disagree with it. And what it came down to was actually, I thought some of the better conversation that we had in the group chat that people weren't privy to was when Dan had mentioned that you couldn't use Toy Story because Disney bought Pixar in 2006. And I mentioned to him that, Pixar is an animation studio, not a production studio. So therefore, they're just buying the team that does the animation. But more so is when I said that Jesse's favorite movie was going to be Remember the Titans. And Dan said, well, there's no castle at the beginning of that. I said, the fuck there isn't. And I sent him the beginning of the movie with the castle that comes up.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I didn't know there was a castle in the beginning of that one.
Neither did I. It's my favorite movie.
To be honest.
I'm not watching it for that castle, but I mean, I guess I could have thought, it's G-rated enough. It just covers some heavy stuff as for a true story that I wouldn't have thought of a Disney movie.
And it wouldn't be one of our shows if I didn't include a little personal story, which was that I had seen Remember the Titans in the theater with my sister. We saw the preview. We wanted to go see it. I thought, sports movie. It's about race. It's kind of a tough topic. We sit there in the theater wherever we get our seats, which I'm very picky about my seat. I won't get into that in this episode. But we get our seats, and the castle comes up with a little, Tinkerbell flying over it. And I looked at my sister. I said, what are we watching?
Are we in the right movie?
Wayne, you would know this. What was Denzel just coming off of at that time?
Oh man, I wouldn't know. I mean, this is back in what, 90, probably 99, right?
Yeah, I think it was 99.
So I mean,
John Q.
The Bone Collector or something like in that range.
There was both great movies to go see it, and a sports movie. I mean, I'd have been there.
Oh, let's see. Your mom is chiming in with some. Let's see. We missed a few of her comments here. Ask someone what they think when someone says Disney movies. What would they say? Deadpool.
Apparently, Wayne consulted with my mom before the show.
No, but they would say, a lot of them would say Michael Jackson about the Beatles.
So, so basically,
the Beatles.
I Want to Hold Your Hand is a Michael Jackson song.
Well, no, that's completely different. He just remade the song, but like
he didn't remake it.
I know, but he owns it. No, I get that. But that doesn't mean it's his song. Again, then I could say the same thing about all Pixar movies, because Pixar movies were just distributed by Disney. They were produced by Pixar Studios.
Well, so don't come at Pixar because
I'm not. I'm just trying to give it as an example, as because we also said that I said Toy Story is the same as the new Star Wars or the new Marvel, as in that case, as in that yes, they're produced by somebody else but distributed by Disney, so technically they're Disney property. That was my argument with Pixar. Is Pixar produced their own movies, and yes, Disney was a part of that and distributed that, but Pixar produced the movie. So, I mean, you can't really say it was a Disney produced movie. Now I'm okay with the Pixar movies. They're incredible. One of them is on my list. I would have had 2 on this list, but I didn't think I could include Toy Story after my mix up. I didn't.
Giving you some shit, buddy.
Yeah, so I didn't, but I did include one, and let's get into them. How about that?
All right, who wants to go first?
Wayne, you go first, buddy.
My number 5. This goes back to when I was a kid. This actually movie came out before I was born.
Is this the original like Mickey on the Train movie? What is it? Tugboat Willie, Steamboat Willie, right?
Steamboat Willie, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Steamboat Willie is actually referenced in The Green Mile, right? So,
yeah, I think so. Yeah, great movie too.
Yeah, but no, my number 5 is actually Robin Hood with all the animals with the characters. So Robin Hood was a fox, and you had Little John was the bear. And I always think of some of my favorite lines. Me and my daughter will watch that movie. Is when Little John says to Robin Hood, he says, "Hey Rob, you think it's okay us, robbing the rich to feed the poor?" And Robin Hood goes, "Rob, Such a naughty word. We never rob. We simply borrow it from those who can afford it. Borrow. Boy, are we in debt.
I love that movie. It's on my list. That's by far my favorite Robin Hood movie. I will never not watch that movie. It's incredible. And the scene where they are practicing the archery and the kids, and the bow's too big and they shoot it over the fence. I just think that's one of the like I don't know, homiest scenes ever. I love it. Such a great movie.
Wouldn't have made my list. I certainly remember the movie, but Robin Hood Men in Tights would have, certainly been my favorite.
We're Men in Tights. Yeah, I think it's great. It's not my number 5. It is my number 4, but my number 5 is actually my Pixar movie, and it's Up. I think that movie's incredible. If you watch that movie and don't cry, you have no soul. I don't care who you are. It's just such a good story, and it's just so incredible, and it's got such a deeper meaning behind it, and it's hilarious too. To this day, I'll say the line, "I love you, squirrel." Like when the dog says it to the guy. I think that movie's fantastic.
Up would have made my list if we were doing an Infinity 6. And the thing about Up is if you have the heart and the fortitude to make it past the first 10 minutes, then, you can make it past anything. That is a kick in the balls. It is almost difficult to watch the story that they tell there of, the kids kind of meeting each other, falling in love, not being able to have a kid, and then her dying. It is indeed a kick in the balls, but amazing animation and a great story after the fact. So it's almost like a story after a story.
Mm-hmm.
My number 5 is Aladdin, and no, not that.
She's right.
We certainly could, and you'd have to participate in the old school, Mom.
Aladdin's old school, bro.
Well, if we're talking about the one that I'm bringing up as well, because I'm not a big fan of the live action. I know Wayne touts it. He loves it, but I couldn't get into it. And the original was Robin Williams. All the songs, you're going to notice a constant with my list is the soundtracks and the songs, the singing. I think that kind of is what separates old Disney from newer Disney, is the musical aspect of it. And Aladdin, it did it all for me. I loved it back then. That's my number 5.
Yeah, Aladdin's a great movie. It's on my list as well, so I haven't gotten to it yet, but it's definitely there. I think Aladdin is widely considered, if you take out Pixar movies, which is more the digital creation, you just go straight cartoons, I think Aladdin is, by a lot of people, the number 1 Disney movie. So it's definitely up there. I think it's a great movie. Like you said, Robin Williams is fantastic. I do like the remake. I do like the live action. And my whole thing wasn't so much that the movie is great, because it's not great. I wouldn't recommend it or stake my reputation on it. But what I would stake my reputation on is, before it came out, I said Will Smith is going to crush it as the genie, and he did. He was phenomenal as the genie.
What's tough too is he's filling Robin Williams' shoes. It's an animated role, but it's probably one of his better roles that he ever did.
And he's one of the greatest voice actors of all time too.
You mentioned the soundtrack. I don't even know if it's him really singing, but the song "Never Had a Friend" I think is one of the best songs Disney's ever made. It's so brilliantly done. It's so catchy, and it's just incredible. That movie's fantastic. It obviously will be on my list as well.
Prince Alibaba.
Alibaba.
Yeah, my number 4 is another older one, and it's one that I've turned my daughter on to, and it will come with another impression. But that is The Sword and the Stone, all about King Arthur and Merlin and his owl Archimedes. And that's where I get into the impression, because me and my daughter laugh at how funny Archimedes is. He's such a sourpuss, And it's the scene where Merlin first meets Wart at the time, which is King Arthur, and he says to him, about how he can prognosticate things, and King Arthur goes, "You mean you can predict everything before it happens?" Yes, everything. And Archimedes goes, "Everything, Merlin?" He goes, "No, not everything." So it's
cool.
Just funny. Yeah,
can't wait till we don't have to have that anymore.
I do a bunch of Archimedes impressions, but Sword in the Stone, number 4.
It's just a great movie. I enjoy it very much. So, all these older movies, I've watched a ton too. They're kind of just what I grew up on. So I remember that pretty vividly. My number 4 is Robin Hood. I had mentioned it, the one Rain had already mentioned. So we don't need to go deeper into that, but that's my number 4.
My number 4, and it may shock you how low I have this in my favorite 5, is actually Lion King. The original, I think all these movies had amazing originals, and then like most things, they had a 2, maybe a 2.5 or a 3. But the originals are all amazing. So Lion King to me, the story, obviously not amazingly original, but the way that they told it, and again, the soundtrack, I love The Lion King, and I could watch it every day.
Yeah, The Lion King is phenomenal. And actually, the only reason that, before Sully jumps in, because I have The Lion King at number 3, so it's kind of segues right in. Although Sully didn't get to go into his 4.
Yeah, I did.
I did. Okay, good.
Robin.
Right. All right.
Yeah.
All right. So yes, my 3 was The Lion King. I agree. The soundtrack's great. I think that the reason the animated version to me I like better than the live action or whatever you want to call it, because it's not really live action; they aren't actual animals.
Voices.
Yeah, Jeremy Irons as Scar was so good. I mean,
Perfect.
there was that perfect balance between James Earl Jones, who has that very big, booming, deep voice, and Jeremy Irons was like that perfect, like just counterbalance to it. I just thought he was so great. And of course, my favorite song, which they totally brushed over in the live action, is Be Prepared. I think it's such a good song.
Oh, such a good song.
And they just kind of blew past it. Yeah.
They blew past a lot. My favorite song is it's Iago, right? The bird?
Yes.
Yeah, and
No, Iago is from Aladdin. It's
that's right. Iago's from Aladdin. I can't remember his name.
Starts with a Z, I think.
Zazu.
Yeah.
I've got a lovely bunch of coconuts. Dee. That's my I sing that to this day all the time. And I think that's brilliant. Lion King will be on my list later on. But yeah, number 3 on my list is the animated Jungle Book. I just fucking love that movie. It's so good. It's brilliant. It's so funny. Again, you mentioned the songs and the soundtrack and things like that. It's just so brilliant. And as a kid, I just remember loving every second of it. So
yeah, I think the voice acting and the soundtrack was so pivotal for some of those earlier. I don't even want to say earlier, but the 88 to 2000 Disney movies, like that era right there. They were so particular about their soundtrack and who they chose to do it, and it was almost like they gifted a movie to a guy like Elton John or Phil Collins. They did things like that, and they just said, "Hey, man, take this movie and play with it." And what they did with the voice acting and the soundtrack has all been great. My number 3 is it's Tarzan. Because I was almost nervous to bring up the Phil Collins and the soundtrack, but. The animation in there, I mean, Tarzan, almost like skating on the trees. And the Phil Collins soundtrack. I love that movie. I love, the monkeys. I love the story. That's my number 3 is Tarzan.
Yeah, I remember thinking, because I worked at the movie theater when Tarzan came out, and I remember telling some of the parents, if they would ask me about it, I said it's kind of dark and scary for kids in the sense that when the opening scene or whatever it is, when the leopards walking or up in the rafters, well, the monkey walks in, his mom, and there's blood paw prints on the floor because they had already killed the parents. Mm-hmm. And then the scene at the very end, obviously when Clayton gets hung, gets hung, it's just dark.
Yeah,
but obviously Tarzan, it's a great story about Tarzan and him. I think she stays with him at the end, right? Jane stays.
There's a sweet meme about Tarzan because there's a scene
how he's holding her,
both hands, and then the vine's behind him, and it's like his butt cheeks are holding the vine because he's got both hands gripping the girl, it's like that's Disney animation at its finest. Though we joke about it, but I mean that's that's real animation. Those are guys really drawing things and then just not thinking about not being able to post edit, actually him holding and shit like that. So that's brilliant in my opinion.
Yeah, I actually had my so we got Chris Roy commenting saying a list without the Lion King is not a list. Sully on the clock.
I made my pick. I picked Quisenberry, man.
My number two. Yeah, my number two is Aladdin. I know we touched on it earlier. I agree 100% with Sully that I think that "Friend Like Me" might be the best song in Disney history. It's so good. And it's so good the way Robin Williams does it too, and the way they animated him was just phenomenal. And I remember, not to kind of bring it to a downer note, but I remember after he passed, or the word came out that he passed, and obviously the stuff coming out about him suffering from depression and things like that. I had seen one of those memes that was actually, it was the genie, and he's like got his arms out, and the cuffs are coming off, and it says "You're free, genie." And it just, it killed me.
That hits hard, actually.
Yeah, because I love Robin Williams. I mean, in anything, I don't care what he's in. He's phenomenal, and just he really brought the genie to life. And I know that Will Smith. That's why I thought Will Smith was going to do such a good job, because I knew that Will Smith respected what Robin Williams did with it so much that he wasn't going to try to duplicate that. He was like, I'm just going to do my own thing because I don't even want to touch that. It's just perfect the way it is.
And Will Smith is actually also the kind of guy. He's got that kind of personality that, could be somebody that kind of not followed in the footsteps of Robin Williams, but you could see he's got that kind of goofiness, that same kind of, sense of humor almost, to where it was more of a goofy sense of humor, not like a joking kind of, I don't know how to explain it, I guess, but I miss Robin Williams so much. I was lucky enough to see him live here in Tampa. I got to go see one of his comedy shows here in Tampa, and it was just, I'll never forget it. It was so incredible. My number two, has been talked about. It's Lion King. I just absolutely loved the movie as a child. I remember, it very vividly. I was in a play with the Lion King. I was actually Mufasa and Pumbaa. Because Mufasa dies, so they had to give me another part.
Spoiler alert! Jesus.
So I know all the songs, and to this day I can still sing them. And it's Hakuna Matata. We talk about greatest Disney songs. Hakuna Matata has to be up there for greatest Disney songs ever made. It's just brilliant. The whole movie's incredible. And then I just think it's got a great message too. So.
Yeah, I've already brought up Lion King and how much I love it. I watch it with my daughter. I did want to touch on, the Jungle Book. I'm actually shocked that it was on either of your lists. I know, Sully, you mentioned it was on your list, and the animated version there. I don't know if you guys have seen. There's kind of two very different live action ones. There's the Jungle Book, and then there's also Mowgli.
Yeah.
And I actually preferred the Mowgli story. I thought that one was really, really awesome, and it's kind of a little bit of a different take on the Jungle Book. It wasn't exactly by the book like I think some of these live action ones have been. I feel like the live actions have been almost too scared to make dramatic turns or differences. I know Aladdin, Jasmine was a little different there, but the Mowgli I thought was different enough for me to find it super interesting.
We have to remember, too, these aren't Disney original stories. Like, they're taking these out of storybooks. The Jungle Book I read, which is from, 1929 or something like that, I read that book, and it's nothing like the Disney animated version. It probably might be more like Mowgli. I haven't seen Mowgli, but I did like the live action. I thought that we talked about Idris Elba as, Shere Khan was so good.
Khan was so good.
I thought that, Bill Murray
played
was
the orangutan. Yes, that's it. Bill Murray plays the orangutan. He was
the orangutan was Christopher Walken.
Oh, that's right. Christopher Walken. My apologies. Bill Murray was the bear. Yeah. I agree. Honestly, Jesse, I think both live actions were fantastic. Mowgli, like you said, showed a different side of it. It wasn't the kind of natural Jungle Book you think of. And I think that's why a lot of people like that one.
Yeah, it was actually, Wayne, I really think you'd enjoy it. It was directed by Andy Serkis, who is in Black Panther. He's in some of the Avengers movies. He actually plays
Gollum,
and he's actually directing the Venom 2 movie.
That's going to be good. That's going to be really good.
Yeah, and and he knows all about,
Disney movie.
Yeah, it is.
It's actually not, because they haven't purchased that from Sony. Sony won't sell it.
They haven't? Oh, okay.
Sony,
Okay. All right.
So number two has been talked about. It's actually not on either of your lists so far yet, but it has been talked about from the group chat, and it is Toy Story. The fact that they've made four of these, not all winners in my book. I know if Chris Roy is still listening, he actually loves the second one, and I think that's the trash one. But I think they could have ended it at 3. They can certainly end it at 4. Who knows what they'll end up doing? But I think each story is really, really amazing. The fact that they can keep coming up with characters that you become attached to. And Tim Allen and Tom Hanks playing Woody and Buzz. What lovable characters. And it's such a great movie. I mean, you know, the little alien guys, you know, you got, you know, yeah, I love the movie, you know, Potato Head, Slinky, you've got, you know, characters abound. So I think that one is the little army characters, how they're helping out with the birthday, you know, sneaking around spying. So Toy Story is my number 2.
Yeah, I have Toy Story number 1. I mean, it's
there we go.
You know, it's one of the best, you know, animated movies of all time. It's phenomenal. Again, another movie I saw in the theater. I actually saw it with my parents. We all went. It was like Thanksgiving Day. It came out, one of those things where we had Thanksgiving dinner, then we went out to the movies, which I know a lot of people do. And we saw Toy Story. It came out, and just loved it. I thought the voices that they picked, the people they picked, were so good. And you know, I talked to Silk when we had him on about how I love just obscure lines. Like if you say, "Hey, what's your favorite line from Toy Story?" You know, people are like, "Oh, Infinity and Beyond," and all that stuff like that. And my favorite line, I think, from the movie is actually when, you know, Woody's looking for his hat, right? And the shark comes up and he's like, "Hey, look, I'm Woody. Howdy, howdy, howdy." And I don't know why it's so funny, but I laugh every time that happens.
My favorite line is, "There's a snake in my boot." I say that all the time, too. My girlfriend hates it. I love Toy Story. I actually think Toy Story 3 is the best one. But, you know, I love Toy Story. I love Toy Story 1 too. I think it's obviously incredible. And it was so groundbreaking. I mean, it was just incredible. My number 1's Aladdin. You know, you had mentioned it's probably number 1 on most people's list. It was the movie I probably wore out the most as a kid. You know, we probably had to buy 3 or 4 copies of that thing as a child. I played it a lot. I was a big fan. Even when Jafar turns into a snake, you know, a giant cobra at the end there, that I don't know why I love that scene. It's so good. It's amazing. I just love that movie.
All right. So I think you guys are about to be shocked with my number 1. It is filled with sentiment. And it is definitely one of the more recent ones. If you guys were going to ban Pixar from this list, it would have killed me. But my number 1 is actually Inside Out.
Oh, nice.
And I think that it does tell a really awesome and original story. And I think that's been kind of difficult for Pixar to do because of all the stories that have been told. But Inside Out, the reason it's my number 1 is I've got a daughter. I, you know, have watched it several times with her. But the first time she's watching it, we know we're watching Bing Bong and Joy try and make it back up. And they can't quite make it. They try 2, 3, 4 times. And the last time they try it, Bing Bong jumps off and sacrifices himself. My daughter turns around as is streaming tears and goes, "Why did he do that?" And I shit you not, the second she did that and I see her crying, I break down and I like have to explain to her like mid tears, like he knew that she couldn't get back to help the child. And like I'm like choking up while doing it. But I mean, I think the connection that we shared, she still loves it. I mean, I got her a Bing Bong stuffed animal. If the seeing Bing Bong doesn't make you cry, then you A, don't have a soul, or you B, haven't seen the movie. And if you haven't seen the movie, I recommend it. Like I mentioned, it's probably a sneaky number 1. Not going to be on a lot of people's list, but just the dad-daughter connection and the sentiment made it number 1 for me.
Yeah, I had a similar experience. We watched it on the couch. It was me and Peyton, and she was kind of sitting on me. Like I was laying on the side, and she was like had her legs draped over me, like whatever. That's how she sits. And yeah, when Bing Bong dies or he jumps off and he disappears, you know,
he just fades. Yeah,
he's like, "Say goodbye to our girl," or whatever. "Say hi to our girl for me," or something like that. She just bawling. And here's the thing: I had tears streaming, but I wasn't saying it like. And then she was like, she's crying, and I'm trying to say, "It's okay. It's okay."
Well, apparently I need to not watch this movie, is what you're saying.
Oh, man.
I'm going to cry.
If you're an emotional dude, I mean, I know nobody on the earth is as emotional as me, but yeah, watching that movie and just seeing her and being able to connect with her on it, being able to kind of tell her that it was important for him to do that. And like, you know, kind of, I think that's when she really like understood the word sacrifice. And it's crazy that's the moment. In an animated Pixar movie, but like Bing Bong had to sacrifice himself so that this child would get joy again for the rest of her life, this like 11-year-old child. And Chloe was so close to that age too that it all encompassed and it hit me right in the feels.
Right in the feels.
Well, that's the show. I mean, we got our Disney talk in. We did skip over the Hall of Fame thing.
Sorry, Jesse.
I really think it will be funny if it becomes the Matt Damon and like next episode is like, oh, we just don't have time.
We just don't have time. Got to move on again.
But we certainly appreciate everybody tuning in. I mean, the last few episodes, last episode with Silk was just absolutely phenomenal. It's 2.5 hours, so I know it's a lot to sit through for one sitting. But I mean, watch half of it, watch another half, because it is so good. Everything he says is so phenomenal. And I say at the end of it, and I said to him in an email yesterday, which I wasn't even joking about it. I said, listen, I'm not joking when I said that halfway through I didn't even want to ask you movie questions. I'm not even joking. Like everything you were talking about with life and like basketball, I said everything. I feel like all the next questions I had on my list is like these just aren't important.
His personality and his just overall outlook on life and in general is so infectious. Like you can't speak to him without being like inspired and in a good mood and just want to do almost better, just in general, just do better. And those people are very few in this world. And I just kind of got that vibe from Silk. He's just such an incredible person, and we're so lucky and humbled to have him on. And I like Wayne said, it's 2.5 hours. It's a long listen. I understand that. I promise you it's worth the listen. Cut it in an hour, do it on a drive home and back. It's totally worth it. You're going to love it.
Absolutely. We and you all are incredibly blessed to be able to have a guy like that that's lived the life he has and gone through the obstacles, the ups and downs that he has. I mean, he's got an amazing story, and we are so blessed to be able to hear what we heard and to be able to create a friendship. I think that's honestly what we did. I mean, I'll be straight up with you guys. When Wayne said he was going to have Silk Cozart, I didn't know who that was. Of course, I've seen some of these movies. So coming in, I was probably less interested. And coming out, I felt like I had just made a great friend. The guy talked to us about him as a teenager, him as an adult, him now, and what he's done and how his life has evolved, how his mindset has evolved. And I just came away being so happy, and it didn't feel like 2.5 hours at all.
It really didn't.
Like Sully mentioned, we probably could have kept going and going. So
yeah.
Really, really happy that we had that opportunity. A lot of props to Wayne and all the scouring and searching that he's doing, all the work that he's putting in to get us some great interviews. Oh, thanks, Mama Bear. Go ahead and heat up my dinner.
That's awesome.
But yeah, I mean, the interviews and the work that Wayne's putting in is amazing. I think he deserves mad props. And I know that he's going to continue to get us some awesome guests. Between guests and segments, we're going to continue to bring you the best show possible. Infinity Sports is going to bring infinite fun.
Yeah, for sure. So if you missed any part of the show, definitely check it out. There is a phenomenal segment, if you tuned in late, where I call Mickey from the movie Rocky to ask him what I should do about Sal. And it's something that you should tune in just to hear that section. So try to find it in the section here.
Upload the show right away, Wayne, so I can listen to it on the way home. And Kenny, did you have Aladdin number 1, number 2?
Kenny, 12's greater than 9, right?
I know, Kenny.